Hello, I'm Jana, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be having some fun with distressed products and creating some snowy effects. There are so many wonderful ways to create snow with distress. We're going to jump in and explore them. If you'd like to see exactly which materials I'm going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. So today we're going to be talking about snow. There are so many wonderful distress products out there that are going to give us some fantastic snowy looks. So let's do some swatches first. Now, the first thing on the list would be texture paste. And to demonstrate these variety of products, we're going to be pulling in the Stencil THMS 114 to act as a little guide for some swatching. So we're just going to place our stencil down and let's grab a palette knife and some texture paste. So we're using texture paste opaque first. Just going to take a little bit of that out of the jar and we're just going to push that through the stencil. So this is a quick and easy way to see one of the many different products that is going to give us a beautiful snowy look. So just scraping that on there and gently scraping off the extra bits. And of course we can easily put the rest back into the jar. Good. So we'll go ahead and set that one aside. Peel that off. There we go. That would be example number 1 of a way to do some snow. Next, we're going to take a look at some grit paste opaque. Now this has some more texture to it, and this is going to give us kind of a granulated snowy look. So just open that up. And I will take another piece of the stencil and place that here. We'll take a little scoop and push that through. So just like that, another quick way to put down a nice snowy look. Lift that up. There we go. Snow number 2. Now the stencil is just getting a little bit dirty, so I'm just going to quickly give that a spritz and we will wipe that off. Next, let's go ahead and pull in a bit of grit paste snowfall. This is absolutely beautiful. There's some distressed glitter already embedded in here, and this is going to give us a more crystallized snowy look. Alright, putting our stencil down, and we'll grab a little bit of this. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put that right through the stencil. As you can see, completely different texture, completely different look, but it is good. Okay, and lift. There we go. Now we've got some snowfall on here. Okay, and again, I'm just going to give this a quick spritz, and I'll wipe off the stencil. So next, we're going to grab some paint. Distress paint picket fence is another great option for a snowy look. We'll give this a quick shake. And just put a little bit of that right on here. So as you can see, this is going to show up beautifully on craft. Then we also have Distress Spray Stain Picket Fence. I like this one a lot for doing splatters. So we're going to just kind of box that off a little bit. And we're going to give that a little spritz. There. So that would be picket fence. Then we've got Distress Ink. We have Distress Ink Picket Fence. Another good option. This is going to give us a lighter look for our snow, but sometimes that's the look we want. So just get a bit onto a blending tool and put that right on here. So as you can see, this is definitely a lighter option when thinking about snow, but that's okay. Sometimes we want a very subtle blend. Okay, not bad. Next, we're going to investigate just a little bit of embossing powder. We've got a lovely Ranger White embossing powder, and we can apply that with the Distress Embossing Dabber. So I'm just going to make sure we've got that flowing, and we'll just put a little of that on here, and just a teeny tiny sprinkle. So if you're really looking for snow that's going to stand out, this is going to be one of the better options because it's going to be very bold and very opaque. There, just brushing that off. All right, so I'm going to zap this with an embossing gun, and we'll be right back to see the results. As you can see, the embossed white powder is definitely one of the brighter options for getting snow. The Distress ink in comparison, very subtle, but I think it looks really good on craft stock. Now, we need a couple of sparkly options, and for that we're going to need to pull in some collage medium. And we're going to look first, of course, at some Distress glitter. So I'm just going to put down a little bit of glue. We'll get our big jar of glitter. Just tap a little bit of that on here. And tip the extra right back into the jar. As you can see, that is super sparkly and really, really pretty. But what if we want more textured snow? Well, easy enough. We're going to take a little bit more collage medium. Just going to run a little line right along here. I'm going to smudge that out. If we want more textured snow, of course, we can pull in some Distress mica flakes. And this is going to give us a lovely, kind of a fluffy type of snow. So we'll just grab a little handful of those and we'll sprinkle it right onto the base of our cardstock. Tap it off, and there we go. Now we have some really shiny and textured snow. So these right here would be our main options for adding snow to projects. But what about the application? Well, as we saw, we could use just a regular glue squiggle and add little accents of snow. We can smush the glue out and get a more solid foundation. We can apply with the Distress Dabber. We could even apply this through a stencil if we want a more spattered look. We can smush it with the palette knife, and we can press it through a stencil. We're going to go ahead and take a look at how some of these products look on different papers. So again, this would be our swatch of all things snow. So first things first, what about just applying to a plain background? Black is definitely going to show up our colors very vividly. And let's go ahead. I'm going to use this stencil. This would be THS021. And we're just going to press some texture paste through it. And this is going to give us a beautiful snowy background. And first we're going to need a palette knife. Got it. Take a good scoop of that. And I'm just going to scrape that right onto the stencil. And scrape the extra right back into the jar. Now let's go ahead and lift this off. As you can see, we've got a beautiful sprinkling of snow. Now I want to add just a little bit more over here, and if I very carefully put the edge of the stencil down, I should be able to add in a little bit more without disrupting what I already put down. So very carefully, we're just going to press that in and add that last little bit of snow so we have a fully covered snowy background. I'll try not to smush what I already put down. Okay, good. Scraping that off and lifting it up. Not bad. So here we have a beautiful standalone snowy background. This is just texture paste on black heavy cardstock. And it looks really good. Now, drying time. Drying time, of course, is going to vary depending on where you are in the world. If you happen to be, say, in Phoenix, Arizona, well, your drying time is going to probably be an easy 10 minutes. But if you're somewhere more humid, and for me, of course, lower Quebec, definitely humid, I'm looking at a good 20 minutes to up to 30 minutes for this to dry. But not a big deal. We've got more backgrounds to make. Let's go ahead and set this one aside. Next, let's go for a bit of Distress Grit Paste. And again, I'm going to pull in some black cardstock. But first we're going to add a little bit to the background. And to do that, I'm going to be using some Distress Mica spray stains. I've got Snow Flurries and Shiny Bauble. So we're going to give these a good shake. And now I will spritz these onto the black paper. So just a couple of spritzes here and there. And a little bit from Shiny Bauble. Ooh, that looks really good. And a little drizzle of water, and then we dry it off. Okay, so I'm going to put this on fast forward as I drip drop a bit more water and dry this off. And let's take a look at the background. That is gorgeous. Now we're going to add a bit of texture paste grit over the top. So I'm just going to place that on here. Open that up. We're going to add a little snowfall like this. Now the stencil that I'm using is from last year's 2022 Stamp Timber Tim Holtz set from Stampers Anonymous and Simon Says Stamp. So it's an unusual stencil, but I absolutely love it, and I love the effect that we get with the snowfall on this. So I think it's a good one to pull out. Okay, we've got that scraped on. Now we'll take off the extra, put that right back into the jar. That seems pretty good. Okay. And let's lift it off and see what we have. There we go. And that is a beautiful snowy background. And we got some added shimmer from the Distress Mica spray stains. Okay, we'll set that aside to dry as well. Quickly give the mat a good spritz and wipe it up. Since I'm getting a lot of these stencils pretty well gunked, I am placing them into a bin of water off to the side so that I won't have any residue stuck to my stencils. Okay, next we're going to pull in some Distress watercolor cardstock and some snowfall. So again, we'll give these a good shake. You know what? Actually, I think I want to pull in some frozen fog. That is going to be super pretty. And let's do the frozen fog with the snowfall. So again, giving it a good shake. And we'll add a bit of water directly to the paper this time. We'll give a spritz. And another spritz. Oh, that color is gorgeous. All right, I'm just gonna give this a quick dry and we will be right back. Here is our background on Distress watercolor cardstock. Now we're going to pull in the stencil THS 151, and this is a beautiful snowflake stencil. So let's see, I think I'm gonna do like a little crisscross on this. Let's open our jar. So this is going to give us a more icy look. All right. And let's just move the stencil, see what we have. Very good. We've got some lovely icy snowflakes, and then we're just going to kind of crisscross. I'm going to try to line this up. There we go. And add a bit more on this side. There we go. Now we have some beautiful icy snowflakes. So we're going to do one last background, and this one is using a combination of materials. And this one might be one of my absolute favorites. So we're going to pull in some craft stock, and I'm going to use that very snow flurry-like stencil from the Stamp Timber set. And we're going to be using some texture paste, opaque, and we're going to be combining that with distress glitter. So we've got fluffy snow, we've got icy snow, we've got shiny snow, but we need sparkly snow. So you don't have to just stick to what's on the card. You can mix and match and create your own unique types of snowfall. So let's go ahead and add some more texture paste and then sparkle all the things. So I'm kind of just going to do a little bit of a border going around the edge of this. Just taking that, just pushing it right on, and working my way down. Okay. Now I'm just going to lift up, and we will turn our cardstock. There we go. Got some lovely snow going on here, and just put that down like that and finish it off. Whoops, moving stencil. Okay, there we go. Okay. That is good. Making sure that the press and seal is back in place so our mediums do not dry out. Lifting off the stencil. Okay. Got a little weird thing here. It's okay. A little cleanup. Awesome. So now I'm going to dunk that stencil in the water so I don't ruin it. And now we need to add the glitter. But before I start dumping glitter on there, I need a sheet to catch it with. So we've got our sheet, we've got the glitter, and we're just going to pour. I'm wondering if this might have dried faster today than usual. Interesting. Okay, yes, we did get some glitter on here. It's pretty subtle, which is interesting. But while the texture paste is still wet, and I guess we have to work very quickly right now, it is possible to add the texture paste and the distress glitter together for a bit of sparkling snow. Okay, let's take a look at what we've created today. So first we started off with a swatch card of all of our different options for creating some different snowy effects. Then we dived in to looking at stencils and how stencils can give us different looks with our products and make some different backgrounds with snow. Here we have some grit paste and a background of distressed mica spray stain. Then over here we've got some snowfall with some distressed mica spray stain. Two very different snowy looks. And then we've got some classic texture paste here on black, a whole nother type of snowstorm. And then we combined craft stock with texture paste and some distress glitter for some subtle sparkle on our snow. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for some snowy fun. And until next time, happy crafting!